Welcome, citizens of the kingdom. Hello, Ollie Killer. I see it's your first time in the chat. Welcome aboard. Good to see you. Let me just change this over. Fingers crossed this will work, but it might not. It hasn't. All right, give me just a moment. any second now. There we go. There we are. Lovely. The professionalism will never cease. So yeah, wow, I can't believe there's so many people in the chat straight away. Clearly this game is the one true game, the game we must play forever. Welcome. Let's get this started. We had Morcar last time. Let's have Morcar the second. We're going to start a new dynasty so we can have different factions. Because there are two factions we didn't use last time, and I kind of want to see what they're all about. Is there a particular faction that you guys in the chat want to see again? We had the Counts in the east, we had the north, the Chiefs in the north, and we had the south. I'll take a just general, I'm not going to do a poll, I'll just look at the chat and then... I'm seeing Counts of the east being requested here. Dynasty name, this is the Survivor Dynasty. This is the dynasty that's going to last the test of time. Before people join, just to make sure everyone is on the same page, when you go !join, which you'll be able to do in just a second, when you do that, if you put your preferred pronoun afterwards, it will give you the one you're after. So you go !join space he or space she or space they. Otherwise, it will default to they, which is fine. But if you prefer to be a he or a she, use that after join. We're playing on Twitch. So I'm seeing a lot of love. I'm seeing a lot of love for the Counts. So the Counts can be in, and we'll add the Barons of the March and the Patricians of the Coast to this one. So no Grandees of the South, no Chiefs of the North, who in fairness both got a win last time. So that's fair. And we will see how we get on with this. I appreciate some people weren't here last time. So, yeah, sorry for the lack of Chiefs, but you can always branch out. It's relatively self-explanatory. Right now, you need to go !join to join the game. Remember to follow that with your preferred pronoun. Detective Dumb straight in there. Straight in there with the Counts today. And we'll give it a minute or two just to give people a chance to get in. Because I can see we have a few viewers who haven't joined. So if you do want to join, I'll just give you time to do that. You can also join once the game has started, so do not despair if for whatever reason you cannot type right now, but you can in a few minutes. That's absolutely fine. Right now, Detective Dumb is the only member of the Counts of the East. I don't think I can switch people, can I? No. Wait, can I? No. No, that would be mad. It looks like you're just going to have to accept your life as one of the fish people now. The Patricians of the Coast. Right, that looks like a nice even way to start. We'll see if anybody else rocks up later, but let's begin the game. So I'll, when relevant things come up, just because I know some people weren't here yesterday, I'll explain how the game works. But I won't go into excruciating detail over absolutely everything, because we have learned some of the basics now. The Counts of the East now occupy the same place where the Chiefs were last time. The map has changed ever so slightly, but that's fine. You love to see it. So, first of all, let's choose my path to victory. So, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. The nobles will try and stop me. Those fools couldn't scheme their way out of a paper bag, etc. Hashtag not my king already. And to defeat their schemes, you must secure an heir. Didn't manage that. Well, managed that in one of the games last time. So, I've been thinking about this, and I feel like I went for stability, I went for authority, and I was just constantly undermined. I was undermined at every turn. So, I'm going to look at the starting numbers, and I'm going to say I'm going to be a conqueror. I'm going to be a conqueror king. I'm going to be remembered as the greatest warrior the world has ever seen. Welcome back, Sweet Mel, by the way. Good to see you. A warrior king is sure to be remembered fondly. So I'm gonna focus on improving the military, and you're all gonna let me do that. Okay, that is the key. You're all gonna allow me to do that, because I would really like to get a win today. We also need to meet the council, so this will be interesting because we've not met two of these factions before. Down with the king already from failure 44. We're off to a great start. Let's have a look at these nobles. Let's get a refresher first about the Counts of the East. Here's Detective Dumb of the Counts of the East, looking very dashing today. Oh, are we not getting any background info yet? No, he's just saying hi. What about the Patricians of the Coast? Wow. We definitely missed out not having this lot last time. Look at this. This is, in a word, pizzazz. This is the pizzazz that we were missing. Ollie Killen, I think you've already joined. Yes, you have already joined. You are on Team Counts. Don't you worry. You are part of the game. You will be able to take part in votes in a minute. So this is the Patricians of the Coast. Very fancy. And finally, the Barons of the March. Got a similar sort of approach to style to me. Under your leadership will whip this kingdom into shape. Very much agree with that. Patrician's kind of dripping. Absolutely. 100% agree. Sweet Mel, you are a Baroness of the March. Very nice. And with that, our introductions are finished. Blah, blah, blah. Don't let the nobles win the throne. And finally, let's have a nice coronation just to kick things off. Yes, I should be giving the orders. So, to delay any longer would make the nobles restless. And when nobles get restless, they take their daggers and look for the nearest back. They wouldn't dare. This is my warning to all of you. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to execute people and I didn't do it. Today, if you lot start messing around, heads will roll. Heads will roll. I've almost got it as a little sub-goal for myself today that one of you lot is getting their head chopped off, okay? If I see any dissent, heads will roll. The council gets to... Anyway, the council gets to decide what happens at the coronation, of course. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, just before I start the vote, don't do anything just yet. Once I do start the vote, you will type !vote in the chat and you will select an option out of these. Now, I personally think, my recommendation, my suggestion is that the troops should bear me through the streets atop a shield. I think that would be a great start. So I'm going to select this as my personal preference. You can now vote. So you go !vote in the chat, followed by A, B, C, or D. Everyone who's joined the game can do this. And your votes will contribute to what actually happens. Very nice. Very nice. This is what I'm looking for. This is much better. What a positive start to the game. Outstanding. Voting is closed. And you went for the monarch's choice. Very, very nice. Bit of loyalty today. Soldiers from across the kingdom take part in the parade. They're even outfitted in impressive new equipment for the occasion. Everybody's military got stronger. Amazing. Somebody's saying the East is loyal in the chat. We know that's not true. The East rebelled last time. As you climb up onto the shield and hold your sword aloft, you realise this is not going to be so easy. Your arm quickly starts to hurt, your soldiers stagger and groan under your weight. Rude, I did not sign up to be fat-shamed today, but here we are. Sure enough, one of your shield bearers trips on a loose cobblestone and drops you face first in a puddle, in full view of half the city. My authority's gone down, but my military might has risen, and that is a trade I am willing to accept. And with that, we end the season, and we learn about what you lot are plotting. Over to the counts. Here's Zavok, who I think is just a made-up character. This isn't one of you. My fellow counts, in ancient times, the East was its own proud kingdom. We can bring back those days of glory, but not while the false King Morcar II wears the crown. This is only open to people in the counts, so there's two of you, Ollie Killen and Detective Dumb. What would you like your first goal to be? You can vote on this only if you are in the counts. Counts, you need to cast your vote. I'll give you some time. Like, I'm not just going to press continue as soon as the timer runs out. Ollie Killen's gone for the subterfuge, lowering stability. Do we have a split vote among the counts? This is only the counts that can vote on this. We have a split vote. I don't know what happens here. It might randomize it. Let's find out. Subterfuge is the result. So, Ollie Killen, you won that one. Your goal as the counts is to lower stability. You want to lower stability in the kingdom. For those who aren't aware, each team is capable of winning. Okay, so if you are in the counts, your goal is to lower stability. That is the first thing on your path to victory. The counts plan to replace the king's advisors with their own agents. First, they must prove they're doing a bad job. To advance their scheme, the counts must lower stability, that's this number here, to 4 or less in 3 seasons. So you only have to lower it by 1. Meanwhile, the Barons, led by Agneth. When have the Barons of the March backed down from a fight? Never. I know you'll do whatever it takes to put me, your rightful queen, on the throne. Barons of the March, this one's on you. What is your first goal? Would you like to lower other people's military? Would you like to lower stability? Or would you like to lower authority? This is open now to the Barons of the March, the red team. Voting for... Oh, Sweetmail has gone against everybody else there, but it looks like Gunpowder's going to win. The Republic of Kurth has this substance called gunpowder. With enough of that, the barons could take over the kingdom. Of course, a sensible king would never allow one region to hoard such a thing. To do so secretly, the barons must ensure their trading partners don't fear the king's wrath. To advance their scheme, the barons must lower authority, that's this number, to 4 or less in 2 seasons. And finally, the drippiest faction. Fellow patricians of the coast, my claim to the throne is far more legitimate than that of King Morcar II. Something must be done. Patricians of the coast, here are your options. Which one would you like to go for? You could raise your own trade score. You could lower the treasury, lower the amount of money in the treasury. That's my money here. Or you could lower my authority. Those are your options. And I'm seeing that both the patricians have voted. So they're looking to raise their own trade. The patricians plan to privatize the entire damn kingdom. First, they must build up their industry. To advance their scheme, the patricians must raise their trade to 5 or more. So currently, they've already got it. So, just a reminder, here are your goals. Remember which faction you are in. Here's a list. These are the goals that you are working towards, while I work towards my goal. Right. The Honor Guard. Let's do the Honor Guard first. Let's get this out of the way, because I kind of want to see what the Honor Guard are for these factions. The Marshal's waffling. Let's have a look at our options for the Honor Guard here. Blah, 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 blah. Let's have a look. Let's see them. I want to see what they look like. Let's have a reminder of the Eastern Knights. The Order of the Drowned Rose, here they are highly respectable. They'll understand palace etiquette, but it's been years since they fought an actual battle. That's interesting, but I am going for a military thing here, so I think they've been ruled out. What about the Coastal Gladiators? Oh my goodness. A gang of low-born crooks who've turned themselves into celebrities through their skills at chopping other people to bits. They're vain and selfish. Their skill in battle is undeniable, but can you trust them? Love that. Huge news. Little sort of Myrmidon gladiators here. And finally, the Veterans of the March. These soldiers have fought more battles than they've had hot dinners. They'll be uncouth, no doubt, and won't adapt well to life in the palace, but they're loyal and tough as nails. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. These guys have experience of warfare, but I kind of want to make sure that my Honor Guard are drippy and efficient, so we're going to go with the Coastal Gladiators. The March didn't like that, the East didn't like it, but the Coast, they loved it. They were all about that, so that's a little olive branch over to the people of the Coast. The gladiators arrive a few weeks later. The men are bare-chested and the women underdressed, eager to show off their bodies as much as their weaponry. They gather behind your throne and begin oiling themselves up. I've made the right choice. Outstanding. Outstanding choice for Honor Guard. Hashtag not my guard. Let's hear about the new baby in the March. Who's had a baby? Baroness Sweetmail. Hail, your majesty. Some fine news from my common folk in the March. A baby has been born on your birthday. I'm just going to stop reading this because I've seen a highlighted message. Hashtag second rebellion from the East. Just going to nip this in the bud. No. Okay? Is what I say to that. A baby's been born on your birthday, bearing a birthmark in the shape of a number 9. A fantastic omen. Perhaps we should mark the occasion. This one's for the council, so you're voting on this. This is going over to you. I think... Now, some of you are trying to lower stability, some of you are trying to lower authority. There's 2 options that lower stability, so I can't really veto it. How about this? Why don't I just send my blessings? That doesn't harm the kingdom at all. I'll let you guys vote for it. It's over to everyone. Over to you lot. Stop arranging alliances in the chat and vote on this very important issue. What we're going to do about this baby. Nice bit of loyalty from the patricians there. Love to see it. Great. Love this. Love this. The loyalists have logged on today. Outstanding work. Counts of the East. You are testing me here. You're testing my patience, Counts of the East. That is not what I said to do. I will send my blessings. Thanks, my liege. That's too kind. You're welcome, Baroness Sweetmail 7. There is another matter. They asked your permission to name the baby after you. What do you think, Your Majesty? The more Morcar IIs, the better, as long as the baby's not ugly or no, I'm the only Morcar II around here. The Drippy Coast is a faction of loyalists. Absolutely. Love that. You know what? It's not like it's a threat just because it's called Morcar II, right? I think we can have another one. Huzzah! I'll have my housekeeper give them the good news. Baroness Sweetmail hurries away. A child of the march named for you. Who knows what sort of person this baby will become? You can only hope you're around to see it. I will be around to see it. I'm confident this time. A petitioner from afar. Let's head over to the Drippy Coast. Your Majesty, there is a petitioner here to see you today. We're not exactly sure where she's from. What does she want? You'll see soon enough. Greetings, Your Majesty. My name is Oriad. I have a proposition for you. Oriad? Where are you from? Distant shores, Your Majesty. Is this where we declare war? We've just learned that there are distant shores, and I want to be known as a conqueror. I prefer to keep my exact origins a secret. Tell me more about this proposition. 3 ships... Is this a riddle? 3 ships are docked in a harbour to the west. Their holds are packed to the gills with muskets and gunpowder, and they each boast a full battery of cannons. They are all yours in return for a small favour. I would like to know what this favour is. I only wish to stay in this kingdom with your blessing and protection. I can show your soldiers how to use the weapons, of course, to avoid any accidents. Alright, I'll put it to a vote. And here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Either way, we're getting these weapons. I'm vetoing the option where we don't get the weapons. Here's the vote. Do we provide safe harbour for Oriad in exchange for the muskets, or do we confiscate the weapons and take Oriad as prisoner? Either way, I'm happy with this. Either way works for me. And in the... Oh, I was going to say in the result of a tie, I'd go for the top one, but you've beaten me to it. Alright, Oriad, you're my prisoner. Give me the muskets. That's how it goes. You send word to the coast where the foreign ships are impounded and the weapons seized. Oriad goes quietly as you show her to a cell, though the contempt on her face is clear as day. Look at this military. Look how powerful we are. I don't agree that xenophobia is the way forward, but I will let the nobles bicker amongst themselves in the chat. My stability has been lowered because of some exploded wagons and a few missing limbs, but that's fine. We'll deal with it. It's not a problem. That is the end of the season. We can have an auction now. So for those who don't know how this works, everyone gets the option here to go !fund and then a letter of what you want to build. And then Y is the amount of your money that you're pledging on this, okay? So I'll open the auction now. You can vote on anything. It doesn't have to be in your colour. But you can vote to fund whatever you want. There isn't an option for Brexit in this game. I don't believe Europe exists in this game. Make of that what you will. I mean, there's the option to overthrow the king, which is, you know, not something I would recommend. Rebelling is also not something I would recommend. People seem to be funding this prison, which would lower stability, which I'm not a huge fan of. Why don't we just build a nice Grand Bazaar? Remember, only the top 2 funded buildings will get built. What about a nice Grand Bazaar? I feel like you guys are really sleeping on this Grand Bazaar. Some people are voting to increase stability. I love that. Love that. Oh my god. Huge news. Huge news. Time's up. It looks like the prison might have just been... Yeah, the prison got beaten at the last hurdle there. So we're getting a library and we're getting an aqueduct. JC Santi, this library's in your honour. And the aqueduct, dude, that's yours. Congratulations. Well done for sneaking in there and ruining the East Day. Right. We've got something I can't read down there. Let's do this first. Let's continue with the coast. A blood-red comet was spotted in the night sky over the coast, your august majesty. The citizens are claiming it is a terrible omen. The common folk are on the verge of panic. Is there anything I can do? I think I'm going to tell the church to just dispel these baseless superstitions and see if that works. The priests of the coast preach that the comet is actually a good omen due to a new interpretation. Unfortunately, the peasants don't believe a word of it. Stability goes down and so does faith. That's annoying. For a few weeks, the coast is gripped by panic. Riots break out in the streets. Soothsayers wander the land, foretelling doom. I'm seeing people talking about rebellion in the chat. I'm going to ignore that. Must be nothing. Right, let's sort out the spouse situation. So I need to get myself a spouse. Blah, blah, blah. She says I need to get married. I've been busy. Interested in any. Let's see what our options are. Oh, no, we don't have options yet. What about bounty hunters? Your Majesty, these good folk are bounty hunters representing the Republic of Kurth, they say. King Morcar II, we greet you humbly. That is a bounty hunter, if ever I've seen one. Tell me more about Kurth. I'm gathering information, nobles, so that when we invade Kurth... Kurth's not one of ours, right? Pretty sure Kurth isn't one of ours. It is lovely this time of year. You should visit. Lots of rain, but we make do. As for more important matters, we are searching for someone. A fugitive, you might say. Last we heard, she went by the name Oread. Nobles, this is an awkward situation we found ourselves in. Let's get some more intel before we give anything away. What kind of fugitive is she? The ships under her command are property of the Republic of Kurth, as is their cargo. I don't know what these people are talking about. I don't know anyone by that name. Forgive us, Your Majesty, but we're not fools. We know your military is using the weapons she stole. All right, they're on to us. She's in the dungeons. That's excellent news. We ask permission to purchase her from you so she may stand trial and face justice back in Kurth. And the weapons she stole, they still belong to the Republic? Wrong. You understand? We kindly ask that you return them. Okay, so here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. We are absolutely not returning the stolen weapons. No matter how much they're paying us, that's not happening. But I'll let you vote on the other options. We could either get more money as a kingdom by giving them Oread but keeping the weapons, or we could turn them away. I leave this up to my council. I trust you. I trust you to vote for what's right here. We had a bit of an inflation crisis last time, but it won't happen again. Okay, almost unanimous. Love to see it. Voting has closed. We'll give Oread to the bounty hunters, but we'll keep the stolen weapons. Our treasury has gone up by 50%. Huge news. They grumble, but there's little they can do because we've got the muskets and they don't. All in all, you've come out of it with a tidy profit and a few messy weapons. Love it. It is good to be the king. Meanwhile, amidst dark and foreboding forests, a small squat castle stands watch over the Marcher border. There, at the end of the kingdom, a plot is hatching. Can we shut up about Kurth? Look here, our first shipment from Kurth, says Baron Failure 44. Incredible. May I see inside? Careful with that torch, you fool. You'll blow us to smithereens. Classic Barons of the March. Classic bit there of someone holding fire next to an explosive. It's in the Two Towers, where you've got Grima Wormtongue with his candle over Saruman's little bomb. Classic medieval joke. So this is the fabled black powder. Incredibly powerful, but will need much, much more to put you on the throne. For the next stage of the Baron's scheme, they must raise their trade to 5 or more. It's currently there. in 4 seasons. So the barons could just cruise right now. Right. Tax time. Let's have a look at who has the most money. Or more to the point, let's have a look at which faction has the most players. Because to me, it would seem that taxing the barons would make the most sense. Because they have the most money and the most nobles. Now, there'd be a little bit of defiance, but only a little bit. And I think everyone else would agree that it's the right call to tax the barons. So, that's what's going to happen. Thank you, barons. I appreciate it. Thanks for the money. The barons also, they found a rich vein ore, so the barons actually made some money anyway. So I'm just taxing your gains, okay? That's all I'm doing. You cave into some money, and I took a little bit because we've got to invade Kurth. Hashtag good choice, my king. Very true. Okay, dangerous roads, shark attacks, or eligible options. Let's sort out the spouse situation first, then we'll move on to provincial matters. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, yes, I know. Let's see the options. Who have we got? First of all, we have Vladim, the eldest heir of the Ollie Killen dynasty. Apparently, they had a hell of a time getting them to smile for this portrait. They've lost half the family fortune in gambling halls, unfortunately. They've got in some trouble with the Inquisition a while ago, but it didn't come to anything. Intriguing. Very interesting. From the coast, we have Rhoda, the wealthy heiress to Lord Patrician Ziga to the Marmalade 0808's estate. I mean, just look at her. She's gorgeous. Can't tell because of the mask, but I'll take your word for it. And apparently she's got a silver tongue too. Her interests are typical of the coast. Money, 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 and making more of it. And apparently she has a dark side, although I don't know much more about that. Could be worse, but could be a lot better. And finally, we have Felix, scion of the prestigious J.C. Santi bloodline. A typical baron, really. Loud and brash and self-absorbed, but mostly well-meaning. Like most of the barons, his great passion is hunting. No beast is safe from his crossbow. Oh, and he's not popular with the peasantry. Something about him sets their teeth on edge. Here's my reasoning. Right now, the barons are a little bit annoyed because I have just taxed the barons. And for that reason, barons, I'm willing to make you an offer. I'm seeing lots of support for the coast, serfs up in the coast and all that. But I think the king taketh, and the king taketh as well, taketh again. So I'm going to go with the barons on this one. The barons are called the March, right? Yeah. Felix, welcome. Little bit of annoyance from everybody else, but the barons have chilled out. Hashtag disappointed TBH, good decision, my lord. Unwise. The people have spoken. The deal is struck. I think we're going to leave shark attacks till last, because that sounds sick. Let's look at the dangerous roads. Count Detective Dumb. Your Majesty, the merchants in the east are complaining about bandits. The eastern roads are too dangerous to travel, even with guards. Gangs of highly organised, well-armed highwaymen will ambush merchant caravans and steal absolutely everything. Right. Now, I am all about the military here, so I think we send the military in. And I'm going to say my choice here is to send in the military to get rid of these bandits. But ultimately, the decision lies with the council, so I pass it over to you. I think we should do some military rolling. 60%, I like those odds. But it's up to you. It is up to the people. JC Santi's very happy to be married into the family. What's all this about paying a mercenary company? What? Excuse me? Excuse me, barons? After everything I've done for you? You're trying to deplete the treasury like this? That's absolutely disgraceful. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. Every last one of you. I tax you a little bit of money, and then I make it up to you by like marrying you into the royal family. And you do this. This is absolutely disgraceful. We could have built our military, but instead, you're just spending money. After a dozen bandit attacks are repelled in roadside skirmishes, the bandits lay low and lick their wounds. The roads are quiet once more. A bit of trade for the counts there. Merchants grumble that the mercenaries demand constant bribes and that their manners are almost as bad as those of the bandits. But who cares? Merchants are never happy. Hashtag give us back our money. Absolutely not. You're lucky to keep your head. Right, shark attacks. We've all been waiting for it. Upsetting news from the coast, Your Majesty. Several peasants have been killed by a shark. I've already sent your condolences. Hashtag down with the barons. Very nice. You can't close my beach, says Lord Patrician Dude. I wonder what this might be based off of. I wonder what this might be a reference to. I bet nobody can figure this one out. No one mentioned closing it. That beach is vital for coastal tourism. You can't close it just because a few people got on the wrong end of a fish. I don't really want to lose any stability here, so I'm just going to go for this option. Well, now I want to close it. You can't. I'll take this all the way to the council. All right, council. Here are our options. I can't put a monarch's choice, but I can veto something here. So I am going to veto. This is... Listen. Here's what's going to happen. We are not keeping the beat. We're not going for option A, okay? I don't want stability going any lower, okay? So we're vetoing keeping the beach open. However, everything else is up to you. Everything else is up to you. Everything else falls to you. Wow. Failure 44 wants to shut down the beach. Everybody else wants to turn the shark into a tourist attraction. Very nice. It's genius. We flipped this on its head. The patricians immediately mount an impressive public relations campaign. Come to Prosper Beach, see the world-famous man-eating shark. Thrill seekers welcome. This can only end well. I'm certain that this will be a net positive for the kingdom. More people are dying than ever, but at least they all signed waivers. Everybody's happy, especially the shark, which grows very fat indeed. The patricians' personal wealth has increased, and their trade is now dominant. Very well. All right, let's end the season there. Meanwhile, in the east, far in the east, Count Ollie Killen is hosting a dinner party in their castle with a few distinguished guests. The kingdom is in great jeopardy, and the council is calling for the king's inner circle to resign. We need to increase the pressure. If the king's in a weak enough position, he's got no choice but to bow to our demands. No more interfering spymaster, no more marshal or chancellor or treasurer, a whole new inner circle, all made up of counts. For the next stage of their scheme, the counts must lower authority to 4 or less. What I'm hearing is we need to raise authority to stop the counts. Hashtag stop the counts. Speaking of, right, I can bring in a new law. I think we need more stability. So I'm going to choose call for unity. So that sometimes we can raise that stability and make sure the kingdom is in a good place. Right. There's a lot going on in the east, apparently, this time. I think they were... Actually, we've not been to the march in a while. I wonder what they're up to. Hashtag up the purples, indeed. Let's get the royal wedding sorted. First things first. Your wedding to Felix is naturally the talk of the kingdom. Nobles and peasants alike travel from across the realm to attend. For a week and a day, the capital is one giant party. It feels like you're the only one not taking part. Instead, you're getting ready for the ceremony. Soon enough, you're standing in St. Bertrand's Cathedral with Felix at your side. Do you take this man as your lawfully wedded husband? I do. Give me that authority. Give me that stability. I'm king and husband. After the wedding, of course, there's a feast. And after a feast, a dance. And your new husband, Felix, dances so vigorously that he spills wine all over himself. Defiance has gone down. Authority and stability are both up. This is a great time to be king. By the time you find yourself alone with Felix, it's past midnight and you've never felt more tired. What's all this in the chat about marchers marching? Marchers be marching to rebellion and treason. Marchers be marching to honour and glory. Good God, I'm so drunk, and yet somehow not drunk enough. Time for more wine. You know what? Sure. Let's... Because last time, my spouse ended up hating me both times. I'm going to try and, like, not have that happen. Haha, that's the spirit. Alright, let's make a move. No time like the present, eh? He swings the last dregs of his wine and leads you to bed. I don't know how this will work with heirs. I don't know whether this game is just going to be like, listen. The king wants an heir, the king gets an heir. That's simply how it goes. I don't know what the, I don't know how it works in the march. Hello, oh man, bro. Welcome aboard. You have been placed in the patricians, the drippy patricians of the coast. Welcome to the chat as well. I see it's your first time here. Good to see you. Right, let's head over to the east. We've had gunpowder incidents, we've had mercenary extortion. Let's have a look at how that's going. Your Highness, those mercenaries you hired are behaving terribly. In addition to their wages, they're extorting tolls from travelling merchants in exchange for safe passage. Just want to quickly interrupt here. I didn't choose to hire these mercenaries. You guys did. Not me. Just for the record. It looks like both of these options are bad. What does happen if the merchants refuse to pay? Their goods are confiscated at sword point. In other words, the mercenaries are robbing just as much as the bandits used to. Between the bandits and the mercenaries, Eastern trade is being utterly destroyed. Apologies to the counts. Again, nothing to do with me. But your trade's gone down and some of your wealth has decreased. Right. What are we going to do about it is the question. Okay. We could dock the mercenaries' pay as punishment. Which would lower trade and lower farming, apparently. We could offer to pay the mercenaries more if they behave better, which would cost me a fortune. Or we could tell the merchants that from now on, this is just the cost of doing business. I don't know where I stand on this. I feel like this isn't my problem. I would like for you not to ruin the treasury, but I guess that's kind of up to you guys. I'll let you vote on this. I'm not getting involved. I'm just doing me. I'm chilling. This one's for the council. You made this mess. You can fix it. This one's on you. We're just telling the merchants to deal with it. Is that the official line of the council? If you don't want to get robbed, you know, just... You know, don't. It's the cost of doing business. If you want to do business, you're going to get robbed sometimes. Right, okay, cool. I'm sure that'll go down well. The East trade is now poor, and the Coast trade is now a monopoly. Many merchants have fled to the East and set their business up on the coast. So good news for the Coast, bad news for the East. Apologies to the East. Right. Surely these gunpowder incidents will fix everything, though. Count Ollie Killen, or Conte Ollie Killen. Your Highness, a few of my fellow counts have fallen ill after using the new gunpowder weapons. Some sort of allergy, though the cause is unknown. They're blaming you, saying you poisoned them. Others are simply claiming that they are inelegant weapons from an uncivilized time, not worthy of account. Many are selling them on the black market, if you care to know. So what are our options? The counts are rejecting their weapons. We could buy the guns back and redistribute them. We could seize and redistribute the guns without compensation. I don't think we should do that. Although it would increase my authority. But that would be screwing over the counts again. And I feel like the counts have had a bit of a rough run here. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call for unity. Okay? I'm calling for unity right now. It's going to cost me some money. And I don't know how it's going to affect the military. I think we should buy the guns back. Oh, I can't also set Monarch's choice. Right, if more than 50% of you vote for any one option, we'll get +1 stability, okay? And the option you should vote for is option A, okay? Option A. We're going to buy the guns back and redistribute them. Over to the people. You've heard the word of the king. Option A is what we are voting for. Exclamation mark, vote A. Exclamation mark, vote A. Exclamation mark, vote A. I'm going to keep saying it. Exclamation mark, vote A. Look at this. This is how we get things done. We're going to redistribute the guns. Everybody gets a gun. Outstanding work, everybody. You agree to pay for the weapons in compensation for the illness caused, preventing them from reaching the black markets in the process. Stability's up, treasury's down, military is now strong in the east, defiance has gone down in the east, and the counts have got a bit of money back. I see this as a positive for everybody, okay? We spent a bit of the treasury, but nobody lost out here. Let it be known that the king is good. The king is just. The king saw that the East was suffering, and the king made sure that their suffering was ended through diplomacy and charisma. The barons are more than happy to take the muskets off the count's hands, further bolstering their own forces. Outstanding for news for the counts. Or the march, whoever, those ones. That's the end of the season. Meanwhile, in a dingy seaside tavern, two patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme. Dude says the coast economy has never been better. We're making more money than I know what to do with. Money breeds money. I've made a series of investments to improve our profits even more. But what do we do with all the rest of this gold? Yeah, they certainly do have quite a bit of gold. Time to start buying things, of course. Lands, roads, bridges. We'll buy up the whole kingdom piece by piece. But first, the king must be in desperate need of our gold. To advance their scheme, the patricians must lower the treasury to 1,500 or less. I'll tell you what, that's not happening. I have given enough back to you people. We're not going to lower the treasury. We're going to get more money, in fact. Just a reminder of current goals, especially for people who joined more recently. The barons are trying to raise trade, which they're currently doing. The East are trying to lower the kingdom's authority to 4 or less. It's not there yet. And the coast people are trying to lower the treasury. Obviously, none of that's going to happen. Let's start with... It's all going wrong in the East. Let's start at home, back from the hunt. It's Felix. Morcar II, dearest. I have something for you. It's something I brought back from my latest hunt, a trophy. Felix takes you by the hand and leads you into the Great Hall, where a white sheet hangs from some statue that wasn't there before. I'm seeing people say tax the coast, and I'm... Well, all in good time. When he pulls the sheet free and it falls to the floor, the taxidermed figure of a great brown bear is revealed, snarling in anger as if ready to attack. So I could use this to instill some fear, which would be messing over the counts, or we could sell it for a decent amount, which would be messing with the patricians. I'm not going to get rid of it. It's a very nice gift. I'm not going to give it to one of my nobles. So here's what I think. Oh, this is difficult, actually. Who do I want to... Like, money is good. Money is good. But authority is pretty good as well. And I think I'd quite like more authority. I'm going to instill some fear in my nobles. The bear makes a fine addition to the council chambers. Your nobles give it nervous glances every time you enter the room. Meanwhile, there's a plague of rats. Count Ollie Killen strides into the council chambers, distraught, waving a dead rat by its tail. The fields and barns of the east are overrun by vermin, and we've no more poison for these horrible things. We can't cope anymore. I could take the rat and go. The east can handle this alone. I could deliver a supply of rat poison. We could send them a shipment of cats, but that would be quite expensive. Or we could hire some adventurers to clear out the rodents. Here's what I'm saying. We are not... Okay, I am vetoing. We are not spending 900 of the treasury's money on some adventurers to kill rats. Okay? That is where I draw the line. Everything else is over to you lot. Council, what are we doing? How predictable. How predictable from the patricians there. Classic patrician behaviour. I love how the East are just saying, we can handle it. Just take the rat and get out of here. We don't need any help. Voting is closed. Okay, so the East have voted that I will do nothing to help the East. Count Ollie Killen's face falls, their grip tightens on the rat's tail. How are we to survive with these rodents crawling over everything? Oh, very well, your majesty. The rat infestation rages through the East like fire through straw. Thankfully, there's enough food stored safely that the people do not starve. We succeeded, the East are a bit more defiant, and farming has gone down a little bit. But Look at these numbers. Look how well the kingdom is doing when you lot aren't trying to undermine me at every step. Okay? Meanwhile, the patricians, what's up? Lord Patrician Omanbro is here to see you, your majesty. He wants to sell you a crab. Of course he does. Classic. It's the latest trend along the coast, your majesty. The patricians have started keeping a species of jeweled crab as a fashionable pet. The creatures are so rare that one can now sell for as much as a mansion. I mean, send him in. Oh, this is a player who has bought King of the Castle. They can set their customizations, get access to special outfits, and appear more often in storylines. Very nice. Congratulations, Lord Patrician Omanbro. Thank you for seeing me, your majesty. I know the price is steep, but I assure you, these crabs will only go up in value. Now, with all due respect to Lord Patrician Omanbro, there is no shot that I'm spending $1,000 on a box of crabs. At the same time, I'm not going to make it illegal, because that's a bit much, I think. So with the utmost respect, Lord Patrician Omanbro, with huge respect and with no ill will, I'm going to turn this fool away. Crabs, honestly, what is this kingdom coming to? Shark tourism, 100% behind it, but I'm not buying jeweled crabs. My apologies. Right, let's end the season there. There's an auction. You may vote. I'll leave this completely up to you. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved in this auction, but you should all vote for the fortress. I'm not getting involved, but hashtag fund the fortress. Hashtag fund the fortress. If I say it enough times, it'll catch on, I think. Hashtag fund the fortress. Hashtag fund the fortress. I'm not seeing anyone funding the fortress yet. There must be some kind of mistake. Hashtag fund the fortress. Anyone at all? Oh, JC Santi. That's what I want to see. That is what I want to see. I see that dude once again. Dude, was it you yesterday who just had an obscene amount of money? Has it happened again? I can't remember if it was you or if it was Detective Dumb. It was someone with a D at the start of their name. Was it you, dude, who just had loads of money all the way through for like no reason? It was dude. All right. I don't know how they do it. Don't know what the secret is. Right. The auction is complete. The auction is over. The theatre has been funded, lowering my authority. Ollie Killen of the Counts, that one's on you. And a library's been built, raising stability, thanks to Ziga of the Patricians, who funded the whole thing. That's a very generous donation towards that library. Very nice to see. Right. I'm interested to see what we're going to do about the heir here. Your marriage to Felix has grown strong and steady like an old castle wall. Though it began as a political arrangement, it's blossomed into something like love. It's high time you thought about an heir. Congratulations are in order. The royal wedding was a magnificent affair. I'm very happy, thank you. Your happiness isn't as important as fulfilling your duty to the kingdom, but I'm glad you found a way to have both. You've done well so far, but there's still something missing, an heir. You need someone young whose loyalty is assured. A child of your own would do the trick, even if they're a bastard or the youngest of your many cousins. I kind of just want to see. I feel like we're going for this. I just want to know how this works. My husband and I will have a child together. If I say it, it will be so. I am the king. Ah, the traditional method. No one will object to that. I'll arrange for you to take a month off from ruling so you can get down to business. Perfect. We don't need to worry how it's going to work. It's simply going to work. We've not been to the march in ages, so we're going to finish the season off with a trip to the march. Gunpowder smuggling. Let's have a look. Yeah, magic exists. There we go. That's the answer. Your Highness, the barons of the march are attempting to amass a store of gunpowder. You know, the explosive black powder from Kurth. What can I do about this? The barons have established contracts with Kurth merchants, no doubt at great expense. Without the coin to purchase more powder, however, their plot will fail. As it stands, the barons' trade is strong enough to procure a large gunpowder stockpile. If you wish to stop them, you'll have to act fast. You bring the revelations, which the barons wholeheartedly deny, to the council. People of the council, the barons are trying to stock up gunpowder. Thoughts? Any ideas? Here's what I'm going to say. We don't want the barons to progress their scheme. So if we do heavy tariffs on all imports to the March, that's going to lower their trade. JC Santi, thank you very much for the bits. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to veto allowing the barons to do whatever they want, and I will leave the rest up to you. This is up to you. We are not going to allow the barons to do whatever they want. Barons, before you've even got any votes in, it's pretty clear what's going on here. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It's a tie, which means I have the deciding vote. So, barons, here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying, and you're not going to like this. You're not going to like this, but it has to be done. You're getting taxed. Tariffs. Hashtag tax the barons. Predictably, the barons roar about unfair treatment and the prejudices of the council, but the tariffs are passed nonetheless. A little bit of unrest, but their trade is now modest. Hashtag that's my king. Hashtag time for rebellion. Your husband is a marcher. Yeah, but he's not stockpiling gunpowder. That's the simple fact. The new laws certainly put a dampener on the barons' efforts to purchase the expensive explosive. You can only hope it will be enough. Failure 44 says this is terrible. I'm getting very mixed messages from the chat right now, but that's absolutely fine. Let's check out the latest trend. Oh my god, it's bees again. The bees are back. Fashion is cyclical, Your Highness. An old trend has returned and has swept through the march. Bees. Bees? In jewellery, Your Majesty. The buzzing insects can be found trapped in golden tree sap. My marcher artisans use these to adorn necklaces and rings, shining like little gemstones. But my artisans can't keep up with demand, and a glorious trade opportunity slips through our fingers. Our fingers. Bees? The little buzzy things, my liege. Their population in March is dwindling, but you can help. Encourage farmers to focus on beekeeping. They keep the honey. I only ask for the bees lost each harvest. This is going to the council. Council, let it be known that if we approve subsidies for beekeeping, I will lose money, which is bad news. They'll get some money. The people of the march will get some money. Do they need it? A little bit, yes. Their trade will go up, which would counteract everything we've worked so hard for. What about instead we force a new fashion trend? I think it would be much more interesting, and I'm going to call for unity here, that we force a new fashion trend that doesn't involve bees. That's what I think, but it's over to you. This one's on you. The vote here belongs to the council. I have a feeling I know which way it's going to go. Okay, I do not know which way it's going to go at all. Oh, yeah, I was worried that would happen. We're approving subsidies for beekeeping. The farmers of the march accept your coin. They see this as meddling, but times are hard. Soon the sound of buzzing can be heard across the march. Farming in the march is now bountiful, and the treasury has fallen. I hope you're all very happy with yourselves. As a result, Baron J. Santi makes a fortune selling amber jewellery to his fellow barons, trades back up for the barons, and J. Santi's wealth has been increased. Everything we've worked so hard to achieve has been undone by that decision. Patricians of the coast, I saw what you did there. I know why you did it. But you were wrong to do it, okay? In fact, I'm going to call you out by name here. I can't remember which patricians voted for this, but Dude, Oman Bro, and Ziga, all of you should be ashamed of yourselves. I know exactly why you voted the way you did. And, we had a good thing going. We had a really good thing going. And then you had to throw your toys out of the pram because you saw an opportunity to deplete the treasury. You don't care about bee jewelry. You care about bejeweled crabs. You bunch of lunatics. You just care about six-legged creatures being encased in jewelry, or so you claim. But actually what you're doing is you're damaging the treasury. And when you damage the treasury, that's going to make it harder for us to go to war. And if we can't go to war, I'm not going to win. So just give your heads a shake, is all I'm saying. Meanwhile, in the east, Count Ollie Killen has gathered his fellow plotters around a mossy stone obelisk. The council demanded a shake-up, but the king resists all calls to replace his advisors. There's little we can do while the king holds out, but something tells me his position is not as strong as he thinks. The Count's aim is to lower authority to 4 or less. They have not managed to do that just yet. Meanwhile, somewhere in a dark cellar, a nervous baron is showing his guests a stupendous cache of explosive gunpowder. Behold! Great God! By my life, isn't it rarer than gold dust? Over here it is. This isn't just the biggest stockpile in the kingdom, but the only one. Now, what do we do with it? This is only open to the barons. Only the barons can vote on this. Only the barons can vote for what to do next. I'll show you these stats, actually. That's probably fair. Only the barons can choose what to go for next. That makes sense. That's probably what I would vote for were I a baron. They're going to start manufacturing muskets and cannons to make their military unbeatable. Now that we have all this gunpowder, we can assemble more muskets for our troops. We already have prototypes to copy, thanks to Oread and that fool king. Then we'll try to step up our recruitment so we're ready when the time comes. I'll get to it. For the final stage of their scheme, the barons must raise their military to at least 10. People of the council, their military is at 9. We need to make that military small. Okay? Smaller. Wait, what's this about the barons and the drippy coastals working together? That's a dangerous precedent. Sitting on a bench outside the sun-bleached villa, 2 patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme. The thrice-cursed king is still refusing to sell us any public land. It makes sense. The treasury's not exactly suffering right now. Patience, my friend. Let's bide our time until the king's gold runs out. First you denounced us and now you want our help. I didn't denounce you. I just encouraged you to rethink your decisions. Anyway. Right. First things first. Barons, you're getting a bit big for your boots. Barons, you are getting a little bit big for your boots. And for that reason, it pains me to do this. It pains me to do this, barons. But you are scheming against me. And, oh my God, who's this? Wait, everyone look at the chat. Everybody look at the chat right now. We need to, hang on. How do I get rid of this? How do I ban someone? Hashtag ban, /ban, win some player. Got him. Right, anyway, we're taxing the barons. It's not up for debate. You can't just amass gunpowder. Right, a rogue golem and costly crossbows and the crab bubble bursts will alternate. Let's start with the costly crossbows. As you're walking beside the palace parade grounds, a crossbow bolt whizzes past your head and shatters against the wall behind you. Baroness Sweetmell approaches, out of breath and waving frantically. She has a sleek, fancy-looking crossbow nestled in one hand. Great God, your majesty, I nearly took your head off. Tell me in 5 words or less why I shouldn't have you executed. I didn't mean to. Finger slipped. Damn, that was 6, wasn't it? Sorry to scare you. I just wanted to show you this crossbow. Can shoot 3 bolts a minute and punch through Ashmedian armor at 500 yards. Beautiful, isn't she? Trouble is, to achieve such accuracy and power, she needs to be crafted from springwood. It only grows in the forests of the coast. And those, notice Mel's choice of phrase here, patricians, those coastal bastards are the words being used by the March. Just, charge exorbitantly for it. What does this have to do with me? The barons of the March are guarding your borders, my liege. And yet we can't afford to buy the weapons we need. If you want to keep your kingdom safe, alliance over, you love to see it. If you want to keep your kingdom safe, the patricians must stop price gouging. Your esteemed highness, this is outrageous. These barons just want a bargain. Right. So, I mean, I don't like either of these 2 options because they seem to increase military. If we order the patricians to send the Baron Springwood for free, that'll definitely improve the Baron's military, which we don't want. If we put a price cap on the sale of Springwood, that will improve the Baron's military, which we don't want. If I refuse to limit the free market, that will lower the Baron's military. So here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, this is my choice. I think we should all vote C. Because otherwise, the barons are going to get their military up to 10. And if the barons' military gets to 10, do you know what happens? Everybody loses except the barons. And I don't want the barons to win, okay? I'm going to say it right now. I want to win this one. So I urge you, good people of the council, to vote C. Detective Dumb, you have earned my trust. Patricians, you have earned my trust. Failure 44, you should be ashamed of yourself. JC Santi 2, you should be ashamed of yourself. Oh man, bro, I like it. It's a rogue choice. Sweet Mel, you should be ashamed of yourself. 5 seconds remaining to vote. Okay. We're not limiting the free market. This is a libertarian kingdom, apparently. That's how we roll. Next time an Ashmedian horde comes screaming over the border, I'll lay out a welcome mat. The March aren't happy. They're a little bit insolent. So be it. Over the next few months, the patricians continue to ratchet up Springwood prices. Only the wealthiest barons can afford the finest crossbows, and the Marcher armies are forced to make do with subpar equipment. Their military's gone down, the barons' wealth has decreased, sorry about that, didn't mean to do that, and the coast are just the masters of trade as ever. Failure says we will rebel for this. Incorrect. You don't have the defiance to do so. Meanwhile, over on the coast, bad news, Your Majesty. A new reef has been discovered which is overflowing with millions of jeweled crabs. Crab prices are crashing catastrophically. How could this be? The entire kingdom will suffer financially, Your Majesty, with the exception of a few patricians. Curiously, Lord Patrician Omanbro, the very same patrician who first began the crab craze, recently sold all his crabs at a huge profit just days before the crash. Just want to point out the counts have not tried to assassinate you or sell you crabs. That's true, actually. The counts have been loyal allies. You are right to point that out. Some of the patricians' wealth has gone down, some barons have lost out, some of the counts have lost out. However, Lord Patrician Omanbro, that is a lot of money that's just been made. That is a huge personal profit. Richer than the kingdom. Something should probably be done. Right, council, what are we going to do about this? Many assembled nobles have invested heavily in the crab market, and they're casting furious glances at the patricians' benches. Now, here's what I will say. We are not going to bail out the failed businesses along the coast. Okay? That is not happening. We do not have the money to fix the patricians' problems. Okay? The rest of it's up to you. Do we arrest Lord Patrician Omanbro? Or do we let the coast suffer the full consequences of the crisis? It's not looking good for Lord Patrician. I mean, it's not a good spot to be in, is it? It's not, certainly not the, certainly not what you're looking for when your name gets called out like that. Truly, you hate to see it. Very well. Lord Patrician Omanbro has been confiscated along with the ill-gotten gold. Omanbro popping in to vote for their own arrest there as well. Your soldiers storm Lord Patrician Omanbro's opulent mansion, arresting him and confiscating his ill-gotten crab gold. The trial will be held as soon as possible. That's impacted trade in the coast. They're a bit more defiant, understandable. Kingdom stability has dropped. The treasury's skyrocketed. And Lord Patrician Omanbro has lost all of that. All those ill-gotten gains. Outraged patricians protest that your actions are illegal and make a mockery of the law. Don't they know you're the king? Very nice. Right, Rogue Golem. What's happened? A rogue golem has crossed into our territory over the Ashmodean border, my liege. This could be an exciting opportunity. Why did it cross over here? Why? Why would a golem come here? It was instructed to dig a trench, but evidently not told when to stop. It had dug a 16-mile furrow through the landscape and over the border by the time we stopped it. Please, my liege, this is our chance to figure out how this golem magic works. We could even turn it against Ashmead. Your Majesty, the barons would drown their own grandmothers to gain an advantage over Ashmead or over the counts and patricians. Golems are an offence to the ninth god and they're dangerous. We should destroy it before it gets out of control. Right. I don't think we should add it to the Marcher army for what it's worth. I can't veto anything. I can't show you my choice. I think what would be best for the kingdom... Okay, hear me out. I think what would be best for the kingdom would be to take this apart and find out its secrets, okay? And I'm going to set a call for unity. This is a call for unity. I encourage everyone to vote C. I can't force you to, but I encourage everyone to vote C. We're going to take this golem apart. We're going to figure out what makes it tick. We're going to figure out how this works. Patricians, love to see it. The loyal counts, the earnest patricians, great, noble characters, worthy gentlemen, worthy gentlewomen, worthy nobles. Outstanding. Excellent decision. We're going to take this golem apart. We're going to figure out how it works. Even though I betrayed your trust, you stay loyal. Amazing. The voting is closed. Were we successful? It was a 60% chance. The secrets of the golems have been a mystery for too long. I'll put our very best artisans to work on figuring it out. Their faith has dropped a bit, but our stability has risen. A few weeks later, Baron Failure reports with a gleeful smile that it's succeeded. It's slow going, my liege, but we're getting somewhere. In a few months, I think we'll have cracked it. We just figured out golems. Nothing bad can come from figuring out how golems work, is my reasoning. By royal decree, we can tweak the laws governing how the council votes. Do I want any of these laws? I could make it so I gain authority if people vote for my chosen one. I think that's better than Monarch's Choice. Goodbye, Monarch's Choice. Hello, Monarch's Iron Choice. Only if you call stock market manipulation loyalty has the coast been loyal. I'm not going to comment on that. That sounds like business to be discussed in the court. It's not my job to get involved in that. I do want to hear about the secret of the golems. I do want to hear about the bees. Let's leave the bees till last. Okay, let's start with the secrets of the golems. We'll come back to the bees. We've cracked it, Your Highness. Golems are powered by scrolls imbued with the words of Kaldavaga, the Ashmodean machine god. We could build golems of our own, but we'd need to pray to Kaldavaga too. The High Inquisitor doesn't like this, need I even say it? Heresy, heresy. Now, here's what we say. I do not think that the March should be allowed to build golems. With that being said, maybe we allow it, but they can only be powered by the prayers to the 9th. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to just allow it willy-nilly. I'm not going to just allow it without restriction. It's over to you. Over to the council. Some very faithful people. Given how low our faith scores are, you lot are very, very zealous. A split decision on this one. Understandably, it's quite a big ethical dilemma, this one. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we'll allow it, but the golems have to be powered by prayers to the 9th. Several weeks pass. Ah, well, our experiments have not proven successful. When we filled a golem with prayers to the 9th... Oh my god! It went berserk, killed Failure 44, as well as a dozen of our best soldiers, ripped them into 8 pieces each. So... The march have weakened their military. Baron Failure 44 has died. Can we all please... Can we all have an F in the chat for Failure 44? This is so sad. This is hugely sad news. And I'd like to actually take this opportunity to deliver a speech. Members of the council, it is with great sadness that I bring to you the news that Failure 44, a noble and loyal council member, has fallen victim to a workplace accident. With that being said, the work must continue. We must continue to march on towards progress. We will remember Failure 44 in our hearts, but we must now carry on. Failure 44 II has taken your place. Welcome, Failure 44 II. We will honour the legacy of your forebear, and I am very sad to hear the news of Failure 44's passing. Nobody wanted this. Some of the more ignorant barons are claiming that this suggests the ninth isn't the greatest of all gods. Not me, of course. Right, let's learn about these roving hunters. Your Majesty, 2 barons are on their way home from an epic hunt and seek shelter for the night. In exchange, they're willing to gift you a rare trophy and provide meat for an extravagant feast if you so wish. It's been a tough time for the barons. Tell me more about them. Their names are Failure 44 II and Sweet Mel 7. Yeah, go on then. As for this particular hunt, it's an ancient Marcher tradition, something about trekking to all 4 corners of the kingdom to claim a bounty from the great animal spirits. Bring them in. Let's have a word. The table is set for a delectable feast. Though your husband doesn't join, you enjoy the company of the 2 barons while the storm rages outside. The meat they provide is said to come from their latest kill, Tusk, the ancient boar the size of a castle. You're not sure you believe their story, but it certainly tastes better than anything you've had for a long time. Failure 44 II, while you're here, I understand you've been away hunting. Got a bit of news recently. You might want to sit down for this one. Failure 44 I. Have you heard? I'm guessing you haven't because you've been in the woods. So the good news is, we captured a golem. Bad news is it tore your ancestor into pieces. So you are now the head of the Failure household, which is great news. But I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for the ancient boar meat. Later that night, you hear strange noises coming from their quarters, like a pig squealing and snorting. What on Celeste Ath did they bring in here? Let's check it out. You creep down the corridors and push open the door. The former barons stand before you, transformed into hideous porcine beasts that stand on 2 legs. What is going on? What is going on in the Failure household? With snouts, tusks, and floppy pink ears. Excuse me? Your Majesty, don't look at us. What the devil is wrong with you? It was the meat, my liege. We hunted and butchered an ancient legendary beast. We were told it was cursed, but we were also told devouring the beast, the spirit of the forest itself, would bestow great power. We never thought this would be our reward. But I ate that meat as well. I'm so sorry, Your Highness. This is the first time this has happened, and we've been eating this meat for many days now. Perhaps a single meal is not enough to trigger the curse. All right, here's my deal. Here's my deal. I won't tell anyone, but you have to get out. Leave. You hurry the barons through one of your hidden passages. They go without a word, not wanting to argue with your decision. Once outside, you bid them farewell with as much sincerity as their hideous faces can muster. They vow to repay your kindness. Okay, barons, you owe me one for that. Could have ratted you out to the guards. Bees. Let's hear about these bees. The march has taken to beekeeping like bees to a flower. Crops are bountiful and fields are blooming. There have been festivals with much dancing and merriment. But the church is worried. The farm folk are besieged by nightmares, all involving bees. It has made them superstitious and they are losing faith in the... My liege, wait! My liege, wait! The march's farms have improved beyond measure and there is widespread happiness like never before. But for some reason, the church wishes to burn our hives. Unbelievable. It must be done. Our churches lie empty on holy days, for the peasants of the march now worship only the harvest. They pray to their hives instead of the ninth. That is one of the problems that the barons of the march are facing right now. It's true. There are things the archbishop doesn't know that might also be slightly challenging to the faith, were they to come to light. Your Majesty, please, the peasants have full bellies and joyful smiles. That is what the church would burn, my liege. Liar. My priests report that your peasants complain of night horrors and insomnia. Something evil is happening in the march. Right. Obviously, the solution here is more bees. I'm not even looking into the effects of this. I think the answer is more bees. We definitely need more bees. I think that's what we should vote for. More bees. Over to the people. My personal preference is for there to be more bees. Oh, absolute outstanding. You've all outdone yourself here. More bees. Absolutely. That is what we want to see. There's 10 seconds left for this to be a truly unanimous vote. 3, 2, 1. More bees passes. Voting is closed. The church is horrified. The farmers are overjoyed. They invest in more hives and throw festivals to celebrate. Not festivals in your name, nor in the name of the ninth god, but at least they're happy. The farming in the march is now a cornucopia. Faith is now impious, but who cares? You got more bees. And authority, my authority is now commanding. Great news. Great news for the kingdom. What a good day. These upstarts are attempting to get their schemes done, but thus far there's been no progress on that, which is good to see. Let's not dwell on that. Let's not worry too much about that screen. Let's worry about my heir. Your quest for an heir is finally complete. You stand before the council holding a small child in your arm. Should I die, I ask that my crown be passed down too. You know what? I'm a man. My husband's a man. My heir will be a man. This is a kingdom of men. Don't let the king win. Ignore that message. The assembled nobles break out into polite applause. By designating an heir, you've cemented the stability of the kingdom. Your Serene Highness, may I be the first to congratulate you on the birth of your son. What is his name? Thank you, dude. His name is... Listen, everyone. Settle down. His name is Morcar the Second. Marvellous. Your August Majesty. I'm sure little Morcar the Second. I don't think the game expected me to go straight in with the second as my... I'm sure little Morcar the Second will grow up to be a chip off the old block. Great. The crab trial. Oh, this is important, actually. After months of delay, Lord Patrician Oman Bro is finally due to stand trial for his crab-related market manipulation. You stand accused of perpetrating fraud and tricking hundreds into buying expensive crabs. How do you plead? I am guilty only of making money, so I broke a few laws along the way. Is that a crime? Yes, obviously. I pronounce you guilty as charged and your fate will be decided by the king. Right. It says by the king. I am the king. And I say, is it such a crime to play the markets a little bit? Just a little bit. I think, as much as I would like the extra authority, I think maybe it's time that we let bygones be bygones. Because I'm seeing... That being said, Failure 44 has just said it would be funny to hang them. I'm seeing too many calls for mercy. We're pardoning the offender. The other regions are predictably outraged by your leniency. Lord Patrician Omambro chuckles and throws you a wink as he is freed from his shackles. We don't hang people for, being... clever capitalists in this country. Right, fevered dreams. Over the course of the summer, you find yourself plagued by horrific dreams. You're running through the open woods full of screams as your colossal jaws bite beast and human alike. You're always hunting, always hungry. The council has noticed your lack of sleep as you become tired and irritable during court sessions. Something must be done. Now... if I were a lycanthrope of some kind, I think the correct response is to ignore it. Because if I go hunting, who knows what I'm going to end up hunting, You don't want to give in to the urges. If I look for a witch, I'm dealing with a witch. And if I deal with a witch, I'm as bad as a witch, right? And... a local physician helping me sleep is just as likely to be torn apart if I transform there. So we're going to ignore it. I'm sure it'll get better on its own. You push ahead. A few bad dreams won't hurt anyone. And the kingdom cannot afford to see you weak. Agreed. We'll just... listen, don't worry about it. None of you know about that. None of you... you need to stop metagaming. None of you know about this. Except for the two people from the march. Everybody else, you don't know about this. Right, there's an auction. Off you go. Do what you want to do. I can see something the barons are probably going to be very interested in here. But the barons don't have a lot of money. The patricians, on the other hand, as ever, rolling in it. And the Counts. The Count's making a play for a theatre, wanting to lower my authority. Big plays going on. Can the patricians undermine the bids of their rivals? These are the questions. Lots of money going towards that fortress. Can anybody stop a slight increase in military for the barons? Or a decrease in authority for the counts? That would also be a real shame. I could do without this. Patricians. Patricians, you need to do something about this. Patricians, I beg you. Okay. Patricians, your apathy is noted. The theatre has been funded, my authority's been lowered. Ollie Killen, that one's on you. And JC Santi, there's a fortress in your honour. Right. Let's start thinking about my ambition before we worry about this accident. At the start of your reign, you said you wanted to be a conqueror. You look like you plan to live up to those words. The kingdom's army is stronger than ever. Well done, your majesty. And people are chilling out. Great news. But to shut down your noble scheming for good, we need to build on that reputation, and my advisors have some ideas. We should crush these disloyal nobles, take command of their armies and force them to submit. Or, if you're looking to unite the nobles, this sounds good, doesn't it? Rather than smash them, you could declare war on the Ashmolean Empire. They'll forget their schemes if you win. Well, due to our recent influx of bees, we have enough honey for this war effort to go ahead swimmingly. So here's what I'm saying. We're going to war with the Ashmolean Empire. A wise decision, your majesty. I'll begin marshalling our troops. But of course, it won't be easy. Your priority is to raise the kingdom's overall farming and military as much as you can. And of course, there can't be open rebellion. Well, there won't be. It's fine. Right. So, there's a terrible accident, but let's learn about the coming harvest first. Your Majesty, I must speak to you at once. The beekeepers in the march have become emboldened. I'm liking these calls for war bees, by the way. Very nice. They see the kingdom's support as an endorsement of their beliefs. Beliefs? The High Inquisitor betrays no hint of emotion. They become obsessed with bees, your majesty. They form their own traditions and ceremonies with honey, hooded robes and dancing. It must be stopped. I'm not going to forbid dancing. These farmers speak of death, your majesty, and the coming harvest. They speak of golden tongues and blood running like honey. There is nothing more. This is nothing more than a cult, yet the barons are more than tolerating it. JC Santi says this isn't a cult, it's merely quaint rural traditions, and they are making some divine honey. Right. We are absolutely not burning the hives. I feel like this is no business of the council. In all honesty, I don't think this is the council's business, and I think you should all agree with me on that. Any calls to burn the hives, I will absolutely be furious about. This is not for the council to decide. It is for the good of the realm that we keep these bees. We're going to need them in the war that we're going to win, by the way. The war that we are going to win, we need the bees. This is no business of the council. The voting is closed. Not your business. This is attack on the Church of the Ninth. Who asked? She storms from the council hall, fists clenched. A few days later, you hear that her inquisitors are travelling up and down the realm, accusing you and the council of heresy. Well, good for them, but we're in charge, so it doesn't matter. Meanwhile, the beekeeping cult in the march flourishes. Churches stand empty. Holy books are burned. Peasants kneel before their hives, praying for more honey. Outstanding. It's a good religion. Maybe that's why the golem didn't work. Guys, I'm figuring it out. It's because we didn't pray to the bees. When we tried to power the golem, instead of praying to the ninth god, we should have prayed to the bees. Then it would have worked, and Failure 44 the First would still be with us. Meanwhile, Your Majesty, I have some dire news. Count Ollie Killen. This is going to be hard for some of you to hear. Count Ollie Killen was found in the palace gardens this morning. They were attacked by something and torn limb from limb. This is terrible news. I'm going to remain silent. As they were technically your guest at the time, we must make every effort to ensure the counts that it was not intentional. Right, people of the counts. This one is going out to the people of the counts specifically. I'll do my speech in a second. I recall the night before, dreams of blood and gore, ripping a helpless noble apart with your powerful jaws. Your Highness, are you listening? Right. So, counts. Hear me out. Okay, counts, gather round. Ollie Killen the second, you too, come here as well. Here's what happened. Unfortunately, during a hunt yesterday, Conte Ollie Killen was attacked by a wild beast. Let me tell you what kind of wild beast it was. It was a wild beast sent by the Ashmedian Empire. Our rivals sent a feral creature into our lands, and they deliberately targeted one of the counts. They came after one of our own. They came after one of my most loyal subjects. And we cannot let it stand. So I need you all to stand with me while we mourn their loss. Despite your well-crafted story, agreed, the counts are not so easily appeased. One of their own dying while under your protection reflects badly on the crown. But more urgent is your knowledge of what you did. You have become a monster with an unsatiable hunger for fresh meat, insatiable even, human or otherwise. Alright, it's going to lower stability regardless. Listen, I'm just going to continue to ignore it. If the ninth god had not wanted this for you, it would not have happened. Rather than shy away from your newfound powers, you embrace them, indulging yourself with regular midnight hunts. Soon, local peasants are afraid to go out at night, and rumours of a terrible bloodthirsty beast sent from the Ashmedian Empire spreads across the Crown Lands. I can't believe they've done this. We need a witcher or something. That's the only way we're getting out of this. Count Ollie Killen II. The council demands that the king's advisors resign, and the king is too weak to resist. Our replacements are waiting in the wings. Once our advisors surround the king, we'll have complete control of what he hears. We will shape his reality. We'll treat the king like a mushroom, keep him in the dark and feed him. Now, let's not be vulgar. The question is, what will we do with this control? This is for the counts. Counts, this is on you. Are you trying to raise stability, or are you trying to raise other people's defiance? What are the counts aiming to do? Counts, this is only open to you. This vote is only for the counts. You're going to try and turn the king into a useless figurehead. We'll turn the king into our powerless little puppet. Dance, puppet, dance. Sometimes it's scary how much you get into it, but yes, it's a great plan. What now? Now the kingdom must return to prosperity and will ensure we get all the credit. The council will see this as a demonstration of our competence. They'll insist on sweeping out the old guard. At that point, we've won. For the final stage of their scheme, the counts must raise stability to at least 7. Yeah, you do have quite an unstable king, in fairness. Right. Hear me out. Barons, I've been unkind to you in the past. Patricians, you have quite a lot of money, which does alarm me. But, let me finish. You have been loyal. You have been voting the right way. And that is why I'm taxing the peasants. The peasants will pay. The barons have sold a weapon cache, by the way, getting them some money. Good for them. Ooh. Is this... I don't think I can win straight away, but let's work towards me winning. That sounds like a good idea. Your Majesty, I'm glad I found you alone. There's an ambassador from the Ashmedian Empire here to see you. Greetings, Your Grace. I am here to discuss the terms of our upcoming war. Negotiating the Empire's surrender, I hope. No. The Ashmedian Empire is far larger and more powerful than your kingdom. Didn't you wonder why we never squashed you like a bug? It's because for decades we've been divided by internal conflicts. Well, we can't relate to that. I'm just going to read this highlighted message now. Let's focus on the fact we are raising stability rather than the useless figurehead part. We are helping you. Okay, true. It may seem that the Empire is ruled by its emperor. In reality, Ashmead is ruled by its generals, who battle endlessly for control of the capital. So why are you here? I am here representing General Thalacanth, whose lands are safely distant from the border. If you were to invade, all we ask is that you send us your signal. We'll launch a civil war, taking advantage of the chaos to bump off some of our own rivals. A bold plan. I will leave you to think on my words. We've got an ally. If we take advantage of the Ashmedian Empire's internal divisions, we may actually have a chance. That would shut the nobles up for good. None could speak against you if you've beaten our oldest enemy. Of course, we can't rely on the Ashmedians to do all our work for us. We'll need soldiers, lots of soldiers. And soldiers need food, lots of food. We're on it, we got the bees. Fortunately, the kingdom right now has plenty of both. Let me make the necessary preparations. Your goal is to raise the kingdom's overall farming and military as high as you can. Working on it. Right, let's go. We've not been to the patricians in ages. Let's see what they're up to. Lord Patrician Ziga, Your Majesty, you absolutely must come down to the coast next year and experience the Summer Games for yourself. It is the only social event that matters. If you aren't in attendance, well, it would simply be a crime. Tell me more about the Summer Games. Everybody gets drunk and goes to the arena to watch the gladiators battle it out for the title of Golden Champion. Rivers of blood and lakes of wine. Leave your inhibitions in the capital, Your Majesty. I mean, obviously we're going to this. Obviously we're going. Oh, this is simply wonderful. It's been so long since a king attended the games. Last time, as I recall, they were assassinated. Not to worry, Your Majesty. I'm sure it won't happen to you. And we have tithe trouble. Your Highness, I've come to submit a complaint about the counts of the East. Lately, they've been neglecting their tithe. Listen, I know what a tithe is, but I just want to make sure you guys know what a tithe is. What's a tithe? All the counts are obligated to donate an eighth of their monthly income to the church. If they want to stay out of the seven hells when they die, that is. Here's the thing, I'm not a debt collector. Who do you think the common folk will blame if the church starts failing? Me? No, Your Highness, they'll blame you alone. Especially if I tell my priest to spread the word that you refuse to help a holy man in need. Compelling. However, go away. I have never been so... You will regret your words and your deeds. I'll see to it personally. Goodbye. The archbishop soon proves the truth of his words. Throughout the kingdom, priests start to preach to their flocks that the king is a baby kicker and a devil worshipper. The gullible peasants lap it up. Doesn't matter. Join the bee cult. Not an issue. We all love a good bee cult. By royal decree, we can tweak the laws. Do I want any of these laws? Plus 500 treasure if the nobles vote for the selected option. I don't want any of these. I'm happy with the laws as they stand. We have good laws. It's all going on. Let's look at a letter of thanks, first of all. Your Majesty, a letter for you. The Chancellor hands you a small tattered envelope. On the back is a seal that you don't quite recognise, but you're sure it's from the March. Your esteemed Highness, recently you hosted us when we were in need. You'll be pleased to know we have been cured with the help of a powerful witch in the woods. Please accept this gift as a token of our gratitude. We will always be in your debt. The Chancellor hands you a small cedar wood lockbox. Inside are a number of gold coins and a ruby encrusted silver brooch. What a lovely, thoughtful gift. Why don't we give it to my husband? Or do I want the money? I guess I kind of want the money. Yeah, it's for me. It's for me. Thank you. You marvel at the beautiful brooch, wondering where the two accursed hunters could have found it. Whatever the case, it will make a nice addition to your treasury. Welcome, Gangrel, by the way. Good to have you along on the eve of my victory. I can taste it. Baron Failure, 44 the Second's wealth has gone down. Likewise with Sweet Mel, but that's the deal. That's just how it goes. And the nation prospers. What does the Spy Master have to say? Your Majesty, I come to you with a sensitive matter. Whatever it is, it wasn't my fault. Not this time, Your Majesty. It's become clear that King Consort Felix is utterly despised by the common folk. He can't appear in public without being mercilessly mocked. Gangrel is indeed a count. Unfortunately, appearing in public is the only thing your husband is really required to do. How could they despise my dearest Felix? It's the bald head. Maybe. Felix is enthusiastic about everything, except giving speeches, which he finds terribly dull and avoids whenever possible. The commoners turn up, only to be left waiting in the cold for hours. When he does give a speech, it's hurried and perfunctory. The common folk hate it. I don't like to pry on your personal affairs, but if your husband's popularity continues to plummet, he could be at risk. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, is all I'll say to that. It is my duty, your majesty. Shall I fetch your husband so you can discuss the matter with him? Yeah? Yeah? I've already got an heir. Do I care? Yeah, bring him in. I hear the commoners... Oh, what is it? I hear the commoners have turned against you. Who cares what the commoners think? Good point, let's not worry about it. I knew we'd see eye to eye on this. Outstanding. Diplomacy, 100. For the last few months, your marshal has been crisscrossing the kingdom, drumming up troops in preparation for your first strike against the Ashmedian Empire. Today, at last, she's returned, and she's brought one of the counts with her. Your Majesty, the nobles are proving reluctant to commit their soldiers to your cause. They've sent a delegation to speak with you. Gangrel, welcome to the game. Here you are. Your Majesty, of course we all support a war with the accursed dogs of Ashmead. Of course we do. We're more patriotic than anyone, but we're concerned about the harvest. Your Marshal is telling us to raise all our able-bodied levies. If we do that, who's going to gather the crops? The kingdom could starve. I mean, you're equal on both. We wouldn't want to starve, though. I think the damn peasants will just have to tighten their belts, though, honestly. Without a proper harvest, it won't just be the peasants who suffer. Just damned cowardice, if you ask me, your majesty. But all the nobles are echoing this nonsense. Yeah, Gangrel, you are looking sharp, it's true. The fools are worried about going hungry for a few years. Until we can persuade them that the kingdom will survive, they won't commit their full forces to our banner. I'm going to assure Count Gangrel that the kingdom can survive a few bad harvests. By the blood of the dead, your grace, you're right. The kingdom can survive a few hungry winters, if it means teaching those Ashmedian bastards a lesson. Pleasure doing business with you, Gangrel. That's the spirit. I trust we have the backing of the counts in starting this war then. Yes, your grace, let's do this. One by one, your marshal approaches the nobles of your council, seeking their approval for launching a war against the Ashmead. I suppose it would look bad for the patricians if we did nothing while the rest of the kingdom fought. Your esteemed highness, fine, we'll send our troops. When it comes to a war, you can rely on the barons, your majesty. Thank you, Failure 44 II. Let's go give the Ashmedians a kicking. The nobles are united behind the idea of war on Ashmead, your majesty. Huzzah, let's go to war. I like the enthusiasm, but it's been a long time since the kingdom mobilised so much of its army. We need to ensure they're up to the task. I'll assemble the troops at once. Farewell, your majesty. When your marshal returns to the capital a month later, she is at the head of an army. The soldiers set up camp outside the city walls, their armour gleaming crimson in the light of dawn. The camp stretches for miles outside the walls of the city. The ground has been churned to mud under tens of thousands of boots. As you approach, you're greeted by an awesome sight. Rank upon rank of hard-faced footmen holding swords aloft. Knights on horseback, their plate mail glinting. Archers and crossbowmen training furiously, hitting target after target. Beautiful, ain't it? Let's bring Ashmead to its knees. Blood, blood for the bees. This is a typo. It's blood for the bees. The bee cult. Who's with me? Hashtag blood for the bees. Hashtag huzzah for the hive. Hashtag blood for the bees. Your soldiers let out a full-throated roar. For the kingdom, for the king, for the bees. The army is a vast, stinking, hungry monster that swallows up the landscape as it marches south. When you arrive at the border, your soldiers spill across like a flood, sweeping away the surprised Ashmedian sentries in their path. To tell the truth, you don't see much of the fighting. Your job is just to give inspirational speeches before the battle starts, wave a sword around, then duck back into your tent. Despite that, or perhaps because of that, your first Ashmedian campaign is a huge success. By the time you return to the capital for winter, you've conquered almost 100 miles of territory along the border. As the city gates swing open, you're greeted by a rush of joyous sound. Clapping, cheering, peasants are throwing roses at your carriage. Trailing behind you, of course, is also a retinue of wounded soldiers nursing deep-seated trauma and grieving their lost comrades. The peasants largely ignore them. All hail the king, the conquering hero. I'll wave to my adoring fans. The cheering somehow gets louder. They really think you're a hero, even though you spent most of your time in a tent looking at maps. When you return to the palace, your husband is waiting for you. Your heir, Morcar II, in his arms. My darling, you're finally back. I've been breathlessly following the tales of your conquest. I only wish you'd brought me along. It sounds like good fun, but I understand someone needs to hold down the fort. We have so much to talk about. Little Morcar II has been growing up so fast in your absence. Sorry, dear, but the council's requested a meeting. Right, council, what's up? As you step back into the council's presence for the first time in many months, the nobles all look up at you with trepidation. Welcome back, your grace. Thank you, Gangrel. Let me be the first to congratulate you on your victory. But now, we can get back to the business of ruling. There are many votes that need your attention. No. Excuse me? These small matters no longer interest me. But what about democracy? The constitution? Did the king misspeak? We may have won a victory, but Ashmead will strike back and strike back hard. We don't have time for votes. We need to prepare. And if you squabbling bastards don't unite behind the king right away, you'll wake up next year with Ashmeadian soldiers in your bedchambers. Do I make myself clear? Crystal. Nothing like a common enemy, eh? Yes, your majesty, if there's one thing we hate more than each other, it's the Ashmeadian Empire. After that, the nobles never defy you again, but it's not like your life gets easier. Your majesty, I hate to interrupt your meeting, but I just received... Calm down in the chat, by the way. Calm down. You're being hasty. I hate to interrupt your meeting, but I just received word that the Ashmeadian Empire is marching on our newly conquered territories. They're sending 30 regiments we need to mobilize immediately. With a sigh, you head back to the palace to say goodbye to your husband. Here we go again. The monarch is victorious. The Count's attempt to replace the King's advisors never panned out. One night, Count Olikillen awoke to find a smiling spymaster holding a knife to their throat and kindly asking them to desist. In haste to complete their scheme, the barons mishandled the gunpowder. It blew up in their faces, literally. All that was found of Baron Failure 44, presumably the second, was a pair of boots with feet still inside. Failure 44, torn limb from limb by a golem and then blown up by gunpowder. The patricians' attempt to buy the kingdom ended in failure. Bankruptcies were filed, marks were scratched in secret ledgers, the risk-reward calculus wasn't favourable, perhaps next time. King Morcar II's reign spanned another 15 glorious years, mostly spent fighting in foreign fields. He conquered land from Tavalin and Ashmead, lost it, campaigned to get it back. By the time the old warrior died, he was battle-scarred and celebrated as a hero. But most of all, he was tired. Well, that was outstanding. I mean, it feels good to win. Those two back-to-back defeats last time. The first one was funny. The second one, when I got eaten by a giant, was a bit much. I can see that people want one more game, but for me, it's getting a little bit late. So what I will say is I will absolutely do another one of these streams and we'll continue on from this point. So that will be sometime next week. I don't know when yet, but it'll be a weekday, somewhere between Monday and Thursday. I will give you notice in the Discord. Just quickly to be cheeky at the end, if you do have an Amazon Prime account and you fancy throwing the Prime subscription my way, it would be hugely appreciated. Obviously, no pressure. If you're new to the stream and you haven't followed, drop me a follow, and let's have a look to see if there's anybody who we would like to raid. Right, that's my own voice coming out there. I don't need to hear that. Let's go. Yogi's playing God of War again. Let's go back. Let's hit him with it again. So thanks a lot, everyone. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming by. It really actually means a lot to me how many people were just straight in on this stream. It was lovely to see. So thanks for that. And let's do a raid. See you later. And the raid's going to start any second now. I believe it. It's coming. It's coming. We're going. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you all soon enough.